a break, take a look, take it in, 'cause we're taking out, taking a listen, taking a lesson, take it all in, 'cause we're taking out, take a break, take a look, take it in, 'cause we're taking out.
Let's face it, the southern part of the Snowy Mountains gets all the fun, at least for 3 months of the year anyway. There's the glamour and excitement at 2 of Australia's best-known ski resorts, Perisher and Thredbo. There's the bustling and vibrant little town of Jindabyne, and even Cooma gets into the action by billing itself as the gateway to the Snowy Mountains. But sometimes it's just nice to relax. Fill your lungs with clean, crisp air and enjoy the mountains for what they really are, like the locals, without the hype. And what better place to start this unwinding process than right here in the picture-perfect town of Tumut? And what better way to get a feel for Tumut than from the pointy end of a microlight? A microlight, as you can see, is a bit like a motorbike with a wing, or a hang glider with a motor. And I'm lucky enough to be touring the country from the air in this little beauty. But more about that later. For now, climb on board. Let's go flying. Gundagai's our starting point, then on to Tumut, and finally to Talbingo. It's exciting preparing for your first microlight flight. It's a bit squeezy. Okay, so now I'm all safely tucked on board. Clear prop and all that aviation stuff. See ya! Taxiing. The view is great, even from down here. Wow, I love this taking off feeling. So now we are approaching Gundagai. This place reeks of history, like the dog on the tucker box story, 5 miles from. In the old days, a bullock team driver would sometimes get bogged on the banks of the Murrumbidgee River. He would go for help and leave his faithful dog sitting on the tucker box to guard the food until he could get back with help. The legend was born. And the locals have turned this bit of doggy history into a surprisingly tasteful tourist destination. It's a great place for a cuppa and a break from driving. Steele Rudd's characters, Dad, Dave, Mum and Mabel, are well known to the older generation, and Snake Gully itself, made famous by the radio series, can be found conveniently located opposite The Dog. Gundagai itself is a quiet little town, with wide streets and some great motels, set among the green rolling hills of the New South Wales southwest slopes, about 390 kilometres from Sydney on the Hume Highway. In the early part of the last century, it seemed that everyone wanted to write songs or poems about Gundagai. There was Banjo Patterson's The Road to Gundagai, Jack O'Hagan's Along the Road to Gundagai, which later became the theme for the long-running radio serial Dad and Dave, and of course there's the one about, you guessed it, the dog on the tucker box. But it is bridges and water that seem to form an enduring part of Gundagai's history. Gundagai was originally built on the low-lying alluvial flats on the northern side of the Murrumbidgee River, and this was despite flood warnings from the local Aboriginal population. Then, in 1852, a devastating flood did hit the town, killing 83 of the town's 250 inhabitants. But the death toll would have been much higher, except for the efforts of Yarri, one of the local Aboriginals who, despite the personal danger involved, continually rowed his bark canoe out to rescue the town residents who were clinging to the roofs of houses and trees and chimney tops. But now it's time to leave the Hume Highway and Gundagai and head for Tumut, 35 kilometres away. The Go-Cut Road to Tumut provides some of the nicest scenery around, but it is a tad bumpy, so I'm glad I'm in the air and can take the shortcut to Tumut across the field. Tumut was named Resting Place by the River by the local Aboriginals, and as you will see, they really got it right. If inland waterways are your thing, then Tumut's your place. There are gentle mountain streams, fast flowing rivers, massive dams, and lakes stocked with hard fighting, good tasting brown and rainbow trout. Tumut is also a great place to unwind. Take time to enjoy a leisurely stroll along the well-kept walking path beside the fast-flowing Tumut River. Or take a wander through the wide expanse of green lawns and magnificent trees in one of the many parks conveniently located within a few hundred metres of the town's shopping centre. Enjoying 4 distinct seasons each year, Tumut resides comfortably in a stunningly beautiful valley nestled in the northern foothills of the Snowy Mountains. Yet, with an altitude of only 280 metres, it doesn't have to endure the biting winter cold of towns with which Tumut is sometimes mentally associated, like Jindabyne, Cooma and Thredbo. With a population of over 6,300, the town boasts a modern shopping district with elegant little arcades, housing a mixture of trendy cafes, boutique shops and professional offices. Overnight visitors to Tumut have a wide choice of fine caravan parks, motels, holiday flats, bed and breakfast places. If all the stunningly beautiful Tumut scenery is still not sufficient to satisfy your spiritual needs, then maybe a quick look through one of the most magnificent churches in the whole district might just be enough to get you there. This is the beautiful All Saints Anglican Church, and it grew from the humble beginnings of what was, in 1857, known as the Episcopalian Barn. Designed by Edmund Blackett, who also designed, among other things, the Sydney University Quadrangle, this church is regarded as one of Blackett's finest buildings. And who could argue with that? Back on the road again. This time it's just a short 20 kilometres to the old gold mining town of Adelong. But seeing this town today, it's hard to believe that back in the 1860s, at the height of the gold rush, Adelong had a population of almost 20,000 people. And it's not hard to see the attraction, because after the mine had closed in 1914, it was reported that over 25 tonnes of gold had been extracted from them there hills. In today's figures, that's over $300 million worth of gold. It's good to be back in the air again. This time, we're taking off from Tumut Airport, en route to Miles Franklin's birthplace in the little town of Talbingo. And while we're at it, we're going to take a slight deviation to check out Tumut from the air and get a God's eye view of a bridge or two and the Episcopalian Barn. The Tumut River, just below us, winds its way from the base of the massive water catchment of the Blowering Dam, and the flat floor of the valley with its green fields and the tree-lined river looks absolutely magic from up here. On the way to Talbingo, we are going to fly over the 120-metre wall of the giant Blowering Dam. This dam, when it's full, holds about 3.5 times the amount of water of Sydney Harbour. It's a bit before my time, but the Blowering Dam was a permanent feature of primary school textbooks back in the 50s. So significant was its development to this part of the country. You see, the dam is a key component of the Murrumbidgee irrigation area. The area this dam irrigates covers Narrandera to Griffith to Hay and a whole lot of places in between. For the sports-minded traveller with an eye to fishing, the Blowering Dam is well stocked with cod, yellowbelly and trout. The Blowering Dam was also the site of the world's longest water ski run, an almost unbelievable 1,673 kilometres. Then, in 1978, Ken Warby whisked across it on his skis at a speed of 510 kilometres per hour, creating a new world water ski record at the same time. Well, that's probably enough facts and figures for the time being. Now, I'm going to sit back and enjoy the magnificent scenery on this flight along the shores of the beautiful Blowering Dam waterway. Oh, so long for this night I pray that a star will guide you my way to share with me on this special day where a ribbon's in the sky for our love. If allow me to touch your hand, and if please me I once again, so that you too will understand there's a ribbon in the sky for our love. It's not a coincidence, and far more than a lucky chance. But what is that was always meant is a ribbon in the sky for our love. All we can lose with love on our side, and I know we'll find strength in every tear we cry. From now on it's just you and our ribbon in the sky, a ribbon in the sky, ribbon in the sky for our